get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It, Restoration.
Welcome to another edition of the Service Guys podcast. I'm your host, Lonnie Beecham, with Restore It Restoration in Jeff City, Missouri. On the other mics, I have Ruel Abadam, my co-host and IT guy and virtual friend. And today we have a very special guest. We have Sue Hill coming to us to tell us about CosMEDIC. Tell us what the name of your business, Sue.
It's CosMEDIC Solutions with a D, and there's a special reason for that, and I'll explain it as we go along.
Well, that's a nice segue. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, a little about your background, and let's do this.
Okay. I am Sue Hill, as you said. I am in Huntsville, Texas, which is a small town about an hour and a half north of Houston. And we're growing, but we're still a small town. I am a registered nurse with a background in emergency medicine. I've been a paramedic for 34 years and a nurse for about 20. But I kind of fell into the business that I'm in sort of by accident 17 years ago. But what I do is medical cosmetic procedures. And I do everything from basic facials all the way up through Botox and fillers. But everything I do has a medical bend to it. So since I am a medically bent person and the procedures that I do have a medical tendency, then I made my business name CosMEDIC instead of with a T, with a D, so that it would be a little more unusual. And so people, when they try to send me email, they usually mess it up because they try to put a T. But it was very important for me to stress the medical end of my business, because when you come to see me, you're not just going to get any kind of facial or any kind of treatment. You're going to get a specialized treatment that is more toward the medical end of things rather than just the salon or spa type thing. So I'm more of a medical type spa than just a frou-frou or a feel-good kind of spa.
And 17 years ago, you started your own business?
Yes.
And what
in Huntsville, it was sort of what prompted me to do that. My husband is a family practice physician. Yeah. Well, especially in Huntsville, it was a very unique thing to do because we were much smaller back then. And the Woodlands and Houston had a lot of businesses like mine, but in Huntsville, there was then and still there is no business like mine because people would drive distances to do those things. And quite honestly, in Huntsville, there was not a whole lot of the people that did procedures such as these. But we saw that there was a niche for it, and so we kind of were interested in the area. Anyway, long story short, my husband had a family practice and still does, has a practice in town. We rented an office. There's not much commercial space in Huntsville, but when we needed office space, we rented a space that was much too big for his private practice. So we were trying to find a way to utilize that space and to justify the space. And at that point, we talked about a way to do so without having to depend on insurance reimbursement. And many of people listening that's ever had to deal with medical insurance reimbursement, they know it's real crappy. And they cut you to the bone, and it's hard to make a living if you're depending on insurance reimbursement, especially as a family practitioner. So we decided to start another business that we did not have to file insurance and did not have to depend on insurance payments. So that's when my business began, and I started with a laser that does hair removal and spider vein and a microdermabrasion machine. And I went and did specialized training to train me to do chemical peels, microdermabrasion, laser hair removal, and Botox and sclerotherapy to begin with. And so I started out very slowly, which was good because I was still managing his business and doing all the billing and things that were involved in that. And so it was very slow to begin with to kind of introduce it to this town and to grow the business. But,
and Sue,
over 17 years. Yes.
You've alluded to several times that your town is small. What's your population?
I think we're probably 36 to 40,000.
Okay.
And that's a little misleading because it depends on who you ask sometimes.
Gotcha. So
we're a big
sizable
prison town.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, you have, is it a federal prison system or
it's state prison.
That's the town where, not to get political, but isn't your town, your prison there, isn't that the one where they do the lethal injection or executions?
Yes. The executions take place here. We are the heart of the Texas prison system here. We're where the Walls unit is. We're where the death row is. Actually, death row is in Livingston now, but I believe. But the death chamber and the actual executions do take place here in town, a few blocks from where my business is, a few blocks from where I live. And
gotcha.
Actually,
if you ever make it,
yes, that's what we're known for.
Gotcha. Yeah, it didn't dawn on me. You and I've only known each other a short little time. We're part of a Facebook group, but I'm in a state capital of Missouri, and we used to have what they call the Walls, and they decommissioned it, I think, 2004. Since then, I mean, they've torn down a lot of buildings, opened up a lot of the walls. I've actually done some restoration work, removing paint off the walls for an art project that went sour. But that's neither here nor there. But now we have, it's a wonderful tour. I go 3 or 4 times a year, and it's like a different tour every year. And we used to house the gas chamber in Jeff City right here. And so that's part of the tour. You go in on my Facebook page, there was a picture of me and my brother, sitting in the gas chamber. They had to put in another chair because for whatever reason they had to execute 2 people at the same time. And if you see my photo on Facebook, something went really wrong. And my oldest daughter she photobombed us in that photo, and it's one of my more favorite pictures. But so you and I, you worked in the prison system. I have a prison system right here in Jeff City. Right. Our death row is not located in Jeff City anymore, but Potosi is where it's located now. So anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Ours used to be in Huntsville. No. It's cool. Ours used to be in Huntsville. Now it's in Livingston, but we still do the executions here. Actually, Old Sparky, when they used to do electrocution, we still have Old Sparky here in the prison museum. And you can visit Old Sparky in the museum. I've been in the death chamber because when I worked in the prison, I was, at the Walls unit and at all the units at one time or another. So it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting story, but yes.
I've never asked you this before. I've known you, like I said, a little bit, but were you ever part of the execution stuff? No. Like an actual?
No, I was not. Actually, the people who are a part of the executions, who actually take part with the actual execution, there are very few people who know who those people are. Obviously There are medical people involved because an IV has to be started, medication has to be started. I was never privy to that information, and I was never a part of that. But
and that's
obviously
probably better that you don't know.
Absolutely, yeah, because people don't really need to know that information. But no, that's kept very hush hush, and over the years there have been many, I'm sure, but that information's always kept confidential. And that was not a part of my job, even though I've started many IVs for the state. That's not been one of them.
And that's not why we're talking today. Back to, your cosmetic solutions.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your day. What's it look like? What do you said, chemical peels, you talked about laser hair removal. What do you do the most of? What's the one thing that you really enjoy doing, and what's the one thing that you'd rather never do again, but you offer the service? So there's 3 questions there.
Well, I do everything, like I said, from facials, chemical peels, microdermabrasion, Botox, dermaplane, permanent makeup. I do sclerotherapy, which is spider removal, laser hair removal, What else? I have a massage therapist. I can't speak. A massage therapist that works for me. I don't actually do the massages, but I carry skincare and makeup. But I can do makeup. I'm not a makeup artist, but I can do it and have done it for special events. But I mean, I also do fillers. I added that recently, and I do photofacials, which is intense pulse light therapy treatment. I pretty much like everything I do, because if I don't enjoy something I do, I just don't do it. I just phase it out. I'm very particular about the procedures that I choose, because I like to make sure that whatever I do, I'm good at it and that I get good outcomes, because first off, I'm real proud of my work, but also being in a small town, you don't stay in business very long if you don't keep your customers happy. Of course, there's always occasionally someone that's not going to be 100% happy with your work, but for the most part, I have a very loyal, very faithful, very happy clientele. And, you do that by choosing the things that you do well and sticking with them. And so that's what I've tried to do. Probably most often I do dermaplane and Botox. Botox is probably one of my most popular.
Explain dermaplane. I've heard that term, but I don't know what it means.
Dermaplane is a procedure you do for the skin, and you can do face, neck, and chest if you want, but it's a procedure that you do using a surgical blade. And it sounds horrible. It sounds scary when you say it that way, but you use a surgical blade and you scrape the skin. And when you scrape the skin, you not only exfoliate the skin, but you're stimulating the skin at the dermal level. And when you do that, it increases the blood flow to the surface of the skin. It also increases the stimulation at the dermal level so that the dermis will put out more collagen and elastin. It also helps the dermis to release more healing factors. So in a sense, you're causing a controlled injury to the surface of the skin. And when you do that, you're making the skin behave like it's repairing an injury. So you're getting the benefit of a repair to the skin when you don't actually have one. And so the skin is behaving in a manner that it's acting younger, and you're getting the benefit of more collagen and elastin being released and an increased blood flow. So you get an improvement in the skin, plus you're getting an exfoliation. So that's what dermaplane does.
So
and
if I had
it makes your skin look better and younger.
So if I walked in and said, Sue, I want you to dermaplane my face, and I walked out,
mm-hmm.
would it, could you tell that, would somebody say, what happened to you? I mean, did you fall on the asphalt with your face or what?
No. If you did, it wouldn't be because of what I did to you. Okay.
Gotcha.
You would be beautiful. No.
Well, maybe I'm
actually, in a sense,
chemical
guys,
peel.
Right. And see, chemical peels get a bad name because when you hear the word chemical peel, you automatically see those people with their face falling off or real red skin. Now, I can do those, and I have done those. But there are different levels of chemical peel, and there are different levels of face treatment. There's progressive, mid-depth, deep, and then there's medical peels. I don't do medical peels. Those are the ones that people end up, with bandages. They end up with pain medicine. Those are surgical type medical peels. I don't do those. I do what's considered epidermal peels, but there's, I can do deep peels, but they're still epidermal peels, which means they don't go beyond the top surface or the top layer of the skin. So even though you might be red, you might peel for a week to 10 days, it's still a superficial peel. Now, most of the peels I do are progressive peels. The progressive peels, you have to do them more often, but when you leave here, if you notice anything, you might be a little pink, but nothing more than that. With progressive peels, there's no downtime. Maybe you're a little pink, but probably not. By the time you leave here, you're not even pink. With those, there's no downtime.
Why would anybody want a chemical peel? Because like you said, it sounds scary. Chemicals, everybody's chemically sensitive. Nobody wants chemicals, all this stuff. But why would I want a chemical peel?
Because as we grow older and get more sun damaged, our skin not only gets dead skin buildup or dead, the dead skin cells, but
doesn't that fall off
get
in
older,
the shower though? I do wash my face.
Yeah, to a point. And those dead skin cells, to a point, do protect your skin. But they also make your skin look dull, and they make it a little rough. So if you polish those cells away, it gives you a smoother, brighter, more young-looking appearance.
Yeah, that's also what I was wondering.
As we grow older,
can I ask a question?
Sure.
So would the dermaplane help with folks? Let's say I had some sort of scar on my skin. Would the dermaplane help sort of work that away, and would the skin kind of reforms without having a scar? And the other question was, how about if you've ever seen people walking around with maybe like dark spots that start to form on their face? Does the dermaplane help with those types of
it can
marks?
Yes, absolutely.
What about
the scarring? Birthmark, maybe not. It kind of depends on what kind of birthmark. But now the scar, it depends on what kind of scar it is. If it's a pitting scar, it's going to be limited as to how much help it's going to be. If it's more superficial, not as deep, dermaplane slowly over time can help decrease the appearance of it. The thing with any kind of face treatment is you have to do them regularly, because the dermis tends to maintain a memory. And so you stimulate the dermis, it behaves younger, it puts out more collagen and elastin at a faster rate over a period of time. And so before it calms back down, you want to re-stimulate it. It's kind of like building muscle a little bit. Or you can kind of think of it in that way. Before it gets back down to baseline, you want to stimulate it again so that it continues to form more collagen and elastin at a faster rate. So if you're doing these dermaplane treatments to treat scars, for example, you continue to do them regularly so that your skin will continue to produce collagen at a faster rate to rebuild that area where the scarring has been. So you can correct scars to a point.
What if you put collagen in your coffee?
It doesn't have the same effect. Okay. It's not going to get to your skin. I mean, it will help your body to be healthier. It might help to a point, but it's not going to find its way to your skin and fill up that scar. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to throw dirt in a pothole and fill it up in that way. It might work indirectly by making your body healthier, but it's not going to really, it would help indirectly in that way, but not necessarily. And
it isn't a targeted application of collagen.
Exactly. It's an indirect thing, just like taking vitamins and eating healthy and all those things are.
Yeah. With the dark spots. Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Dermaplane would help with that, not only by exfoliating the skin, but by helping increase the turnover of the skin cells. Now, you can also, when I do dermaplane, I automatically add an enzyme or a chemical at the end to help polish off the dead skin cells that I've sort of removed, but to kind of polish the skin. But I also target whatever problem my client is trying to get rid of, whether it be wrinkles, dark spots, acne. At that point, I will choose my enzyme or chemical based on what they're trying to target. So if, for example, it's a dark spot, then I would choose my enzyme mask or chemical that would target dark spots to help lighten and brighten those areas. And yes, you can choose things that help to lighten dark spots on the skin. And dermaplane can be a part of that treatment. For dark spots, though, your best strategy is sunblock. And I don't care if you've got dark skin, light skin, medium skin. Everybody needs sunblock.
Yeah, that was
the darker your skin is.
Ruel, pay attention. That's tip number one.
Yeah, you're a runner, I hear. Mm-hmm.
I go against the grain. but
See there?
that's interesting. You got me wondering about how do these dark spots happen anyways? What causes it for some folks? And they happen in like
What
fluid
happens,
places.
the more melanin you have in your skin, the more apt you are, in some skin types, the more apt you are to form those dark spots. And, sometimes they are random as to where they're going to happen. A lot of times they're in the more exposed areas of your body. Sometimes they just happen randomly. Dark spots can also be triggered hormonally. And when you put hormones and sun together, they really get tricky. And so,
Which hormone?
Hormone changes. Well, estrogen and progesterone are usually the triggers, but it can be anything. But women, especially
Sue,
women with pregnancy and with hormone changes, that's notorious for it.
Yeah, and you know what? Talking about dark spots or whatever, I tend to see them more on women than men.
Yes, and you will, because the androgenic hormones are not as bad about it. Yeah, estrogen is and progesterone.
Talk to the dummy. I'm a dummy. What's androgen hormone?
Testosterone, the male hormone.
Okay.
Guys are lucky they don't have a lot of that stuff. But wear your sunscreen, because people with darker skin, sometimes it's easier for them because they have more melanocytes in their skin, they're going to be more apt to get dark spots with injury. Sometimes with acne scars, they'll get dark spots. Sometimes with cuts and injuries like that, they'll get dark spots, or just with the sun. So you have to be careful.
Okay. So wow. I got a lot of thoughts running through my head. So
that's right. Sunscreen.
What is
the old?
What's the typical sort of turnover for skin to go from, let's say, treated and then it sort of rebuilds, and then you can go back to getting the next treatment? Is there a time frame?
The skin tends to turn over about every 21 to 28 days. And you get a complete rebuild of, from new cells to dead. You get the new cells rising to the surface from the dermis up. You get a new batch of skin cells generally every 21 to 28 days. And so what I recommend for people is you need to do something to exfoliate and stimulate your skin within that time period, because you don't really want your dead skin cells, if you're trying to do something like do anti-aging treatments or treat dark spots, you want to do something within that time period to stay on top of it. You don't want the dermis to completely calm down back to baseline. You want to stay, keep it stimulated at a higher level. You also don't want those dead skin cells to completely rebuild before you do another treatment, because you're kind of staying at the same level rather than staying ahead of it. Because since the dermis maintains a level or it maintains a memory, you want it to remember things at a faster rate. And if you keep bumping it a little bit every month or every 3 weeks, it tends to remember a little better. I can tell you from experience, I started my business when I was 40 years old. I'm 57 now. My skin's better now at 57 than it was when I started this business. And I'm kind of lazy. I do the at-home care religiously, but I'm kind of lazy about the treatments and chemical peels and, dermaplane and stuff like that. I get lazy because by the time I leave, I don't want to do it. But, I can say that just doing the stuff I'm supposed to, it makes a difference.
Sue.
Yes.
What does at-home care look like?
At-home care means I cleanse my face twice a day. I don't go to sleep with makeup on like a lot of people do. I use
Do they really? I've been married 19 years. My wife and I have 2 daughters. My 14-year-old's starting to wear a little makeup. I've never known my exposure is very limited. I've only been married once. I married my high school sweetheart, and I don't know do women really sleep with makeup on?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. they do.
Because they're
I don't get. I used
lazy
to
or
many years ago. I don't know. I think I just was lazy, probably. Now I can't sleep. If I fall asleep and I have makeup on, I wake up and I have to get up because I can't deal with it. But But yeah, my skincare regimen is cleansing twice a day. I use an antioxidant, which fights free radical damage and helps to repair free radical damage I already have. I use a peptide, which helps my dermis to continue to make more collagen. What?
You've used two big words.
What is whoa? Antioxidant.
Yeah. Why do I have you seen my face?
The antioxidant.
I have a beard. Can I do some of this stuff without shaving my beard?
Sure. Just do it on the areas that show.
Okay. So my cheeks, forehead,
do it on the stuff that show. Sure.
Okay.
Sure. The vitamin C is the antioxidant that I like, but there are a lot of them. The peptide, there are lots of those, but that helps the dermis to make more collagen, or it encourages it to. And then a good moisturizer. And everybody needs moisture. It doesn't matter if you have oily skin. I have a lot of people that come in, they say, I don't use moisturizer because my skin's oily. Well, there are moisturizers that are appropriate even for oily skin. And so you just have to know what to choose. So even oily skin needs moisture morning and night. And then you have to have a sunblock. Over and above that, if you want to do something treatment-wise to take care of any problem that you perceive you have, whether it be wrinkles, dark spots, acne, anything else that you want to take care of, then you can choose a treatment to deal with that. A lot of times I need to do that, and I'm sometimes not real good about it. But, there's a lot of things you can do. I tend to try to do what I have to do and then not play chemistry with the rest of it.
Gotcha.
And with my customers, they appreciate the fact that I'm not a pushy salesperson, and I just try to, encourage them to do what they need to do and not try and push things that they don't need.
And Sue, tell me a little bit. I mean, I told you and we chatted a little bit yesterday for the first time ever. I love your Southern accent. That is I like that Southern Belle accent, just very smooth and calm, and it just sounds so relaxing talking to you.
Oh my!
So, but I told you yesterday that my wife, and I don't publicize this, but she does do some regulation work with our state with tattoo artists and stuff. And you mentioned earlier that you do some permanent makeup. I mean,
I do. I do a lot of it.
I'm actually very fascinated. I mean, you have totally captivated me. I want to know, and I'm a guy. Have I sent you a pic any time recently? I mean, like, I got a beard. I'm a dude. I work out in sun. I work out in humidity, heat. I mean, I can go from freezing cold to humid and sweaty in 10 minutes. I mean, did I send you do you know what I look like?
Yeah, I've seen your Facebook picture.
Yeah. So, I mean, so let's say.
But I need a picture of Ruel too.
No, you don't. I've seen pics.
You want a picture of, you want a picture from me of Lonnie? You want my picture of Lonnie?
I don't know about that.
It's in my wallet. So
Trust me, you don't want a picture of Ruel. His wife is way prettier than he is.
Well, okay, I'll take a picture of her.
Hey, so as I try to get back on track, what I'm hearing is hormones play a part in environmental exposure. So, in general,
yes, absolutely.
Can we split type of care by gender? Like, women tend to need more of a regimen, sort of what you've described for your routine, and guys like Lonnie who go and just face plants and messes with all these different temperatures and conditions that everybody's going to be, and he likely has more of the I think Lonnie kind of has more of the male hormones going on because he's got like that nice hefty beard. But is that what we're saying? That yes, there's skincare, but we also need to know that everybody's different. If you're a woman, you might want to take all these things. Okay.
And not everybody needs everything. That's why the skincare that I sell is not in a kit. It's all individual things because every person is different. The other point is not everyone is willing to do everything. So I try to maximize what a person is willing to do. Men are not going to do 6 steps. They might do 3. And I maximize what they're willing to do. Occasionally I'll get a guy that comes in here and he is very, maybe he's a salesman, maybe I have a guy that's an actor. They come in, they want to do whatever they can do maximally to take care of their skin. Most guys come in, they're like, look, I want to take care of my skin, but I'm not doing that. So, and a lot of girls, they just want to do the minimum. I'm busy. I just want to do what I have to do. I customize that. And not everybody needs everything. And so you're absolutely right. You have to take into consideration, not every place does that. And I'm not one of those places you walk in and I say, oh girl, we got to talk about this, this, and this. I don't do that. My first question is, what about your skin do you not like? What would you like to work on? Because it's not what my opinion is, it's what that person doesn't like. I don't put seeds in their brain for them to go home and look at, because if I say, oh, you've got a wrinkle on your forehead, they may have never noticed that. And it's not fair for me to put that seed in their head, because when they leave here, that's all they're going to see. I'm honest, and I don't believe in doing that to people. Sales-wise, would that be smart? Probably. But that's not the way I do business.
But you know what?
And so
I've been in the restoration business almost 20 years, 5 on my own. And no, actually, Real, help me out here. You do my heavy thinking. 18, 19 years I've been in the restoration business. And you know what? Try to tie this in. I still want to hear about permanent makeup, because I was starting to tell you about that. But anyway, my approach when I deal with customers, I want them to know the truth. I want them to know the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Sure.
How much do they need professional help with? How much can they do themselves? That sort of thing. So you know what? What you're saying, just telling people, asking them, what are your concerns? That's my first question. Whenever
and how do you want to do it?
Right. I mean, other than my immediate emergency water damage business, obviously, yeah, we can see the water. It's obvious. Your feet are wet. I'm there to help. Outside of that, then I start talking like, what do you want to do? I mean, we need to cut this. We need to cut that. So that resonates. I mean, you know what?
Right.
Sales is one thing. You can listen to all the sales podcasts and, buy all the books and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, sorry, I don't know why I couldn't say that, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to make a sale, people know that. They can see it. They can smell it. They see it and they hear it. So that resonates very well with me. I like that. I like your approach with that. Good.
Okay, so you want to hear about permanent makeup. When I do permanent makeup, I have a person come in. I mostly do brows and eyeliner. I will do lips, but I mostly do brows and eyeliner. The person comes in. We see what they want to do. We pick a color.
So obviously this is mostly women.
Yes. I think I did eyeliner on one guy in the past.
And not to get, I don't want to,
only
I don't want
to enhance his lashes.
Okay.
It was only to enhance his lashes.
I don't want to make a statement.
He didn't want
Yeah,
it was just to enhance his lashes. But it wasn't like I got the request one time from a lady. She wanted the Egyptian whore look. And I can't do that. I can't do it that thick, but yeah.
That's very popular in 2018.
I couldn't do it. That's what I told her. I said, look, let's go just basic, because when you're 65, you might not want the Egyptian whore look. So let's just go plain, and you can add to it.
And she said that? I mean, that was really her.
Yes, she did. That was
so
her
when you
request.
asked her, what are you looking for? She says, I want the Egyptian whore look. Okay. How old was she?
Yes. She was in her 20s at the time. I still know her. She's in her 40s now. And well, she couldn't have been in her 20s if she's in her 40s now, because I've only been in business 17 years. It's been a while ago. But she was, anyway, we pick a color. We do a test spot. Now, a lot of places don't do that. I'd be interested to know from your wife if the people she oversees do this. But I do a test spot in the scalp with the pigment that I'm going to use on this person. We wait a week. We see if there's a reaction to that pigment. If there's not, then we do the procedure. And so, and it's an actual tattoo. This is like an allergic reaction, a sensitivity reaction to the pigment.
So you do like a dot on their elbow or somewhere that people aren't going to see? In their scalp.
I do it in their scalp.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And so they have a dot there. But then after a week, we can do the procedure. But I numb it. I'm not going to work on somebody that's, especially around their eyes, if they're not numb, because that's just not right. I've heard of people doing it. A lot of people come in here and they say, well, they didn't numb it last time. I'm like, well, big girl ain't doing that, because no. It's bad enough. Yes.
And Ruel and listeners, I don't publicize this. I have tattoos. I only have two Greek letters on my outside of my ankle, and then I have another two additional Greek letters on the inside of my right ankle. It was a thing. We kind of all did it. It wasn't expected. That sort of thing. So I actually have tattoos. I'm proud of my outside that says my fraternity name. My inside name is my chapter name. It only means something to those of us that read, fraternity Greek letters. I don't regret it, but it's not as proud a moment. You know what I mean? Like, okay, whatever. Only like however many hundred of us know what that means or who that, Anyway, so people would actually get eyeliner makeup or permanent makeup on their eyes and eyebrows and stuff without, it didn't hurt. I felt it. I wasn't crying. I wasn't screaming. I wasn't, jerking away, but I felt it. I couldn't imagine on my eyelid.
People have done that, and I think they're nuts.
Why?
Why? I know I couldn't. Because they're determined to have it, I guess. I don't know.
Is that because they're not a licensed medical, RN person, and they're just a licensed tattoo artist? Why would a person want to put their customer through that? I
think so. Or maybe they're too cheap to buy the stuff. I don't know. I don't get it either.
So
but sometimes they can't get the good stuff either because they're not licensed.
Do you ever get customers who... Sue, do you ever have customers who, say, had a bad previous experience with that type of work, and they want somebody like yourself to possibly help sort of correct it or remove it?
Yes, I've done corrections before. I can't really remove it, but I have done corrections before. And
so you can do it.
It's limited as to how much of that you. Well, I say I can't remove it. I can sometimes remove some of it and lighten it using acids, or sometimes you can tattoo over it with a skin colored pigment, and you can kind of disguise it a little bit. I'll try first to remove it with a little bit of acid, but sometimes you can't get it all. So acid scares you, doesn't it, Lonnie?
Well, I deal with
no, not on the eyelid. I'm talking about for brows. Okay, I'm misleading you. For brows, I can do correction. But for eyelids, I would not know.
So I'm going to ask, since we're talking about...
usually just thicken it. Yes?
I want to ask, since we're talking about body parts, what is the most unusual part of the body that you've had to treat, whether it be the dermal planing or, the permanent makeup? Yeah.
Well, I do laser, and I don't know that it's unusual, but you do bikini lasering, and I did have an unusual request years ago, because sometimes you get people come in, and I'm not sure if this guy came in because he thought, some people come in and ask you things just, I think it gives them a little thrill or something. I don't know if that's why he was there, or if he was serious, or if maybe he thought he would embarrass me, which if the people who know me know that I don't embarrass easily, and it will probably backfire. So this guy came in, sight unseen, for a request one day, and he wanted laser hair removal. Okay, so we sat down and did our private consultation, and he was stammering and stuttering around asking, and I couldn't get out of him what he wanted. And he said, well, you know, I want laser treatment, and I want to look like the guys in the movies. And I said, okay, I'm not sure what you're asking for. I knew what he was asking for, but I was going to make him tell me. I said, okay, what kind of movies are we talking about here? Well, you know, the guys in those movies.
Sue,
what?
Sue, stop.
What?
You're starting to get into one of your war stories.
Yeah.
Right?
He asked me.
Yeah.
I didn't actually treat this guy, but he asked me. I was going to. If he had paid me enough, I'd have done it.
Well, I'm preempting.
Because you can.
Preempting.
With certain precautions, you can do it.
I'm just preempting here because people, you know, typically in my world, I deal with service guys that are, you know, your blue collar, you know, service technicians, be it whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So people, you know, listeners may be wondering, why does this cosmetic lady, you know, how does she play into this? So I'm sorry.
Because I do hair removal, and some people need hair removal done. And he felt like he needed hair removal, but he didn't come back, so it was okay. But Ruel was asking the unusual places I had treated, and probably the most unusual body parts I've treated are bikini areas on ladies.
What makes that unusual? I mean, aren't they all
and backs on men? Well, it's really not, but I mean, as far as unusual, I guess in a medical spa, I guess it's not unusual. I'm a nurse, so there's really not an unusual body part.
Gotcha.
I guess.
If you've seen one genitalia, you've seen them all, right?
Or any other body part. You know, I've been a paramedic for a long, long time, and I worked for the prison. So, you know.
So Sue,
it's just not. Yes.
So
back to medical spa.
Being in my my hometown, I've known a lot of correctional officers. You don't have to answer this, but this is how I hear CPR goes in prison. Are you ready?
Okay.
So you got a guy choking or, you know, not breathing or, you know, needing CPR. Well, I guess choking is more of a Heimlich maneuver. But so you got a guy in, you know, heart failure of some sort, and you're needing to resuscitate him. Here's what I've always heard. In the prison system, the CPR method is stomp on his chest, blow at him from 6 feet up, stomp, blow on him from 6 feet up. Is that true?
No, it is not. I was a paramedic for the prison system for 2 years, and then I did medical training for the prison system for 6 years. And part of the training that I did was not only with the medical people, but it was also with the officers and sometimes with the inmates. But when I trained the officers, I trained them to do CPR, first aid, and I trained them in infectious diseases and things. But
true.
I can tell you from the medical standpoint, I worked in the medical department. I would go in and assess the medical department. Those inmates got very good medical care. And I have seen the medical department as well as the officers respond to medical emergencies, and they actually do very well. The officers will joke about that. They joke about that, and that's what they would do. Each one of them had to come up and demonstrate that. And they would say, oh, yeah, this is the way I do it, stomp. But when it comes down to it, they do good. They do good work.
Okay, good.
They're good guys.
I've heard that, and I've never been in a penal system. I've never, you know, but I've heard that living in my town. it's a running joke. So anyway, sorry.
Well, sure, and that's what it is.
Inappropriate joke in there. I shouldn't say that.
No, that's okay. They always say that, but it's a guy, it's an officer thing and probably a medical thing too. But no, when it comes down to it, I've seen them all respond and they all respond appropriately, and they're good guys. It's just when you are in that environment, you have to joke about stuff because it's not fun.
Yeah, and you and I have chatted. I mean, there's certain aspects of my business I don't do anymore, but there's a certain amount of, you just kind of gotta find something to, I mean, they call it dark humor. I mean, it's
sure.
And
quite honestly, some of these guys are sometimes a little jaded because in reality, some of these inmates are getting better health care than they are. So
that's pretty
sad.
That's
just my opinion. That's just my opinion sometimes, just saying, but I may get in trouble for saying that, but.
Sorry, Ruel. I mean, did you get your weird question answered from Sue?
Yeah, I just left the rest to my imagination, and I'm fine.
And I will, let's see, as far as in my business, the one thing I hope I never have to live without in my business is Botox. If you guys have any wrinkles from your cheekbones up, I'm telling you, you got to try it. Botox is wonderful.
But as a guy, why do I need to worry about it? I mean,
if it don't bother you, don't worry about it. But if you have 11s, where you frown, you've got 11s and they bother you, or if you have forehead wrinkles and they bother you, if you have crow's feet and they bother you, they don't bother you, don't fix them. That's what I tell people. But
speaking of guys, how many guys get Botox?
I have several.
Do you? Okay. All right.
Are you familiar with hydrosis? Palmer's hydrosis?
Yes. So, hyperhidrosis, yes.
Hyperhidrosis.
Or the underarms, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Do you, with the Botox...
I don't do the treatments for that.
Gotcha. Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
It does work for some people, but I don't do that for that. That's considered a medical treatment, and that needs to be done by a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon.
Yeah, that's
some very high doses for that.
Yeah, that's something that I've dealt with for most of my life, and I'm dealing with it right now as we speak. Can you just sense the moisture coming through the line? And when the treatment was suggested to me, it scared the heck out of me because I didn't want to have Botox in my hand at the same time I was taking care of an infant or a baby. I didn't want to I don't want to be that guy, exposing his
and
kids
people
to the
don't
Botox.
understand that right. But once you understood that it's there for, the toxins only lives for 4 hours after it's administered, and then it's gone. It does what it's going to do, and then it's gone. And so it doesn't get systemic unless you completely overdose somebody and get stupid, and that takes a lot. And it doesn't stay there. The toxin dies. And so, people are concerned about that.
Wow.
Have you had a good experience with it?
I've just decided to not get the treatment. And there's even another medical procedure where they go in and through your chest and snip or clamp down on some nerves.
Yes.
And then all the side effects, just like, you know what, this is just who I am, and this is just how I'm going to be. Like one of the side effects I understood was some sort of like half of your face kind of drooping or something. And
it could, yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want to.
Have you tried the special deodorants that are real strong? There's a prescription deodorant that will help with that. Have you tried that?
I haven't. I'll have to look into it. But see, the thing is, it's
not a deodorant. It's an antiperspirant. Yeah. Sorry, it's an antiperspirant.
We're talking hands. We're talking feet. We're talking everywhere else that armpits and whatnot. I'd have to roll around in a whole batch of it.
Right. Well, you could put it, I think, on your hands and on your feet. I think I'll check into it and I'll let you know. But,
all right.
That is a problem. for some people, and I'll see what I can find out. See if there are other options.
Yeah, I don't want to make this. Yeah, Lonnie, what?
Well, I was just gonna say, nobody expects me to smell pretty. I'm a service guy. I'm in the field.
Well, it's not a smell thing; it's a moisture thing.
Yeah, and folks who like do sales and they got to shake hands with everybody and kiss the babies and whatnot, right? They've got to touch. I mean, I'm in my 40s and my go-to for a handshake is a knuckle bump, all the time. So I want to prevent grossing out everybody else that I encounter. So that's just my go-to. But that's just me, and that's this episode. This show isn't about me. Back to the show.
But that's okay. It's about cosmetic solutions, and that is one of those things. And that's what my business is like. People come in and we talk about all that kind of stuff. And if I don't know about it or if I can't fix it, I try and find out. Okay, and then people come in and tell me stuff they've learned, and I learn stuff too. So,
well, if you ever need a poster boy for hydrosis, just give me a call.
Okay. I'll see what I can find out about it. Yeah, there you go.
Well,
all this connecting stuff is good.
And that's what I do, Sue. I try to connect people. I try to learn about people. At the end of, I'm always curious about people. Like, okay, I mean, I knew a little about you. How you and I met was through a Facebook group that we're all friends of or part of. Mm-hmm. And it's something, I don't know what you posted, but I posted, or you posted something that made me kind of look a little deeper. And I thought, oh, cosmetic. So here's my attempt at a segue to try to bring you in as to how a cosmetic person is even in my world, because I deal with plumbers, electricians, HVAC, plumbing, flooring guys. Those are my service guys that I deal with.
But I offer services too.
Exactly. And that's exactly. And when I saw your thing, I was like, oh, I know just enough to know to be dangerous. I mean, I could go for another hour with you or 5 hours with you.
I can too. We need to do this again. See?
Yeah, I don't know you well, but man, you have actually fascinated me. But folks, I mean, the reason why I reached out to Sue was because she's a type of service that people don't think about. There are certain demographics though that'll never sit in your chair, Sue, and you know that. I know that. There are certain demographics that'll never, hire me because, it is what it is. But you and I both, at the end of the day, we're there to help people. I own a service company. You own a service company. Yours is more medical based and skincare and that sort of thing. But the whole premise of this show is tell us one of your crazy you started to allude to it earlier about the guy with wanting to look like a movie star. And we'll let you figure out what movies he wanted to look like. But tell us one of your crazy stories, one of your success stories. I mean,
I think my favorite ones are the people who come in who have a genuine problem that I can genuinely help them with. I mean, I have ladies who come in who've had a stroke, who can't put their makeup on anymore. And if I can give them eyebrows and eyeliner so that they can have makeup again, they can have their face back, it means
Never
a
thought
lot
of that.
to them.
Never thought of that.
Exactly. Or they've had cancer treatment and they've lost their eyebrows and their eyelashes, and I can give them eyebrows and some definition back to their eyes. Those things are really, really important. You have women come in with a full beard due to hormonal issues. I had a lady who was junior high teacher, and you know how brutal junior high kids are.
Oh, I can only
imagine. And this lady had a full beard, and she was coming in and doing waxing, and because she couldn't afford laser treatments, and I kept saying, "Look, I'll make it where you can afford it. I promise." Well, I just can't do it. So I finally said, "Look, I'm going to do this where you can afford this because I really want you to do." And so finally I talked her into laser treatment, and she had a hormonal imbalance that it took probably over 2 years of treatments with her, but we finally got rid of that facial hair, and she had the most beautiful skin under there. that you can imagine. And, it went from bumpy hair, ingrown hair to just beautiful skin. And, those are the top things that make it worth it. You have a lady who's had a stroke or Bell's palsy and her face, one side droops and the other doesn't. But if you put a little bit of Botox here and there, you can even up her face a little bit. Those are the neat things. I mean, I've had a couple of older men in town that have come up to me and thanked me for fixing their mom. One of them, I did brows on his mom, and he came up and he said, "Thank you so much." I didn't even know he knew I did this. And he came up at a restaurant and thanked me for putting eyebrows on his mom, because he said, "My God, every time we saw her, it was a bet as to whether her eyebrows would be on, where they would be or if they would match." He said, "Thank you so much for putting her brows on so that they look the same every time." And,
wow,
another guy,
that's good.
yeah, I mean, yeah. And another one, his mom had really bushy eyebrows. And I don't normally do this, but for her, I would get them and trim them up and, make them neat for her. And, he thanked me for keeping her up. And thank goodness, when she passed away, I had just done her eyebrows. And so, it's the things like that just really, and the first time I did them, you can't imagine the excitement that she had when she looked at herself in the mirror. It's those kind of things. Or you've got a person undergoing cancer treatments whose skin is just, they're undergoing radiation. Their skin is just hammered. And they come in and I can do a really gentle hydrating facial for them. And, their skin feels better and it looks better and it just makes them feel good. Those are the type of things that make my job feel good, and it makes it worth it. And, when you get those irritating days, those things really make it go well. And so those are the feel good things. Those are the things I really enjoy.
Yeah,
Thank
you know what?
And then you get some
stuff I never thought about. I mean,
Thank you.
And I, at the heart of our business, you and I both, we want to help people.
Sure.
You like to
and
help.
That's the important stuff.
Help.
Looking good's good,
right.
But, making a difference in somebody's life is better. And,
exactly. And that's why we're talking today. I mean, I know enough between what I know personally and, talking to friends and business people locally that do similar type businesses. They're not RNs, but talking to you and stuff like that, that's I never thought about that. And that's why we're talking today, to kind of learn about your day and what brings you joy. And I know in my world, I get great joy whenever I pass a post mold test, but at the end of the day, it's not as impactful as, doing eyebrows on a lady that just, happened to pass away in the next few days, or somebody's mom that, didn't know where the eyebrows would be and that sort of thing. And, never thought about.
Well, you think you're only helping that person, and then you find out it affects their family. It's kind of
exactly. So, and sorry, Ruel, I think I might have stepped on your toes. You were starting to say something to Sue a couple of minutes ago, but
I just, after hearing Sue and how she's impacted all of these customers' lives, all these individuals' lives, I just wanted to thank her because, it made me feel good. It shed some light on how there's more to it than just the cosmetic stuff. It helps people's lives, as you said, Sue. So I just want to say thanks. That's awesome.
Well, that's awfully nice. Well, thank you. We're in business to do stuff, and to make a living, but I don't think I would feel good about myself or my business unless I could help people. And it makes me smile and makes me happy to know that I've made somebody's day, even in a little way. And looking good is a good thing, but making somebody feel better is always better to me.
Right.
It's all important, but I get a much better benefit from this than the person that got the service. I can tell you for sure, I get a much better good feeling from it than they do.
Wow. It's fantastic.
It's fun. It's fun medicine. I mean, I love emergency medicine. I think that's what I was born to do. I was born to be in the back of an ambulance, but this is what my life has turned to, and so I enjoy this too. But it's very interesting. I'm tickled that I'm an RN and that being a nurse makes you very versatile and makes you be able to do a lot of different things. I've worked in a clinic, I've worked in ER, I've worked in an ambulance. I have done some stuff with wound care. I'm also wound care certified. I worked in a nursing home, which I absolutely love because I love going to see those old people and giving them a hug and making them smile. So I'm glad that I'm in a profession that you can bend and make into whatever you kind of want it to be. And so, I'm very fortunate that way to be able to do that. I don't have to be bored. I can go out and do something else if I get ready to and kind of test it out.
And we all know that nurses are really warm-hearted, loving, caring people. And we actually, everybody that we see owes a debt of gratitude to a nurse for one reason or another, directly or indirectly, for themselves, family, and that sort of thing. So Sue, I thank you very much. I would love to continue this conversation. A couple things that I did learn from you for tips for people were sunscreen and wash your face.
Yes. You have to wear your sunscreen. That's the most important. Wear your sunscreen. I appreciate you doing this. This has been a lot of fun. A whole lot of fun.
Well, Stu, please plug your website. Let us know anything that you want us to know. Sorry, I got background noise going on. Guys are here. But please, I'm going to give you the last word and plug your website. Let us know how people can reach out to you. If you would like to, I can. If you're willing, I'm asking you on a recorded podcast, so you can't say no. If it's okay, I would like to connect you and Ruel with personal information about his hydrosis. But I'm giving you the moment to say the last word, plug your website, how people can find you, that sort of thing.
Okay. I'm Sue Hill. I'm in Huntsville, Texas. My website is CosMEDIC with a D, CosMED as in David, ICSolutions.net. There is a way to message me on the website. My phone number is 936-436-0975. I can be reached pretty much anytime. So give me a message. I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook page for CosMEDIC Solutions. I can be messaged through there as well. So,
and folks,
I love to talk to people.
Sue, I'm just interrupting right here. I personally have liked your business page, and even as a guy with a beard and haven't thought much about it, I do check it out and kind of wonder maybe I need to do a little more care that I am 43 years old. I have several
clients with beards, if that makes you feel better.
Gotcha.
Several of my clients have beards.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sue.
No, that's okay. I was done. That's it. That's all I have. Okay. I'm on Facebook, and I have my website and my phone number. And
gotcha.
Just if you have any questions, shoot me a message.
Well, folks, unless Ruel, do you have anything to add?
For the podcast, just some business stuff. If I want to thank Sue Hill again for coming on the podcast. I want to thank Lonnie for taking the helm and running the episode. I do want to say, if folks found value in the Service Guys podcast, please do share it with people you know. We'd love it if you would head over to Apple Podcasts, rate us, and review us. Lonnie wants specifically 5 stars, only because that's the highest you can get. And
and I don't care what you say. Tell me that Sue talks funny. Just put it. Just leave a 5-star review. Say that Sue talks like she's a Southern country girl. She is from Texas.
Country kid.
So, yeah, it doesn't matter what you say. Just a 5-star review. Sure. Leave us 5-star. Tell us that you like the show. Tell us that you want to come see Sue. Tell us whatever you want to tell us. Just tell us that it's a Tuesday at 3, and it doesn't matter what you say. Just leave a 5-star review.
Awesome. Yeah, that's right. Service Guys Podcast is online on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram as Service Guys Pod, one word. And that's all I got to say. You want to outro us out?
Yes. Thank you, folks, for listening. It's been a great pleasure to learn more about Sue and her business and what she does in a day. And this is Lonnie Beecham with RestoreRestoration.com. And with that, I wanted to tell you to get your life back to normal. Thank you.
Go get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It, Restoration.